right, so in thinking about thinking, I spend a lot of time thinking about thinking. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or not.
Roger, we cannot hear you.
Right. I started to say that I spend a lot of time thinking about thinking, which may not be such a great idea, but so it goes. So Ty had an interesting portion in his book, No Death, No Fear, at the beginning, about the relationship between waves and water. And he uses it as a metaphor, you know, how waves are made of water and how we're made of our Buddha nature. So he uses the metaphor for the relationship between Buddha nature and our sense of a separate self, and between ourself and our varieties of experience, so like seeing, hearing, thinking, feeling, our sensory experience. And of course, thinking is one of those. So I thought I would read that because for me, it's a very clear and calming expression of how one way we can use the metaphor to explore our experience of thinking. So he starts and says, when you look at the surface of the ocean, you can see waves coming up and going down. You can describe these waves in terms of high and low, big or small, more vigorous or less vigorous, more beautiful or less beautiful. You can describe a wave in terms of beginning and end, birth and death. That can be compared to the historical dimension. In the historical dimension, we are concerned with birth and death, more powerful, less powerful, more beautiful, less beautiful, beginning and end, and so on. Looking deeply, we can also see that the waves are at the same time water. A wave may like to seek its own true nature. The wave might suffer from fear, from complexes. A wave may say, I am not as big as the other waves. I am oppressed. I am not as beautiful as the other waves. I have been born and I have to die. The wave may suffer from these things, these ideas, but if the wave bends down and touches her true nature, she will realize that she is water. Then her fear and complexes will disappear. Water is free from the birth and death of a wave. Water is free from high and low, more beautiful and less beautiful. You can talk in terms of more beautiful or less beautiful, high or low, only in terms of waves. As far as water is concerned, all these concepts are invalid. Our true nature is the nature of no birth and no death. We do not have to go anywhere in order to touch our true nature. The wave does not have to look for water because she is water. We do not have to look for God. We do not have to look for our ultimate dimension or nirvana because we are nirvana. We are God. You are what you're looking for. You are already what you want to become. You can say to the wave, my dearest wave, you are water. You don't have to go and seek water. Your nature is the nature of non-discrimination, of no birth and no death, of no being and no non-being. So it's interesting, in another group, we're reading Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, Suzuki Roshi, who founded the San Francisco Zen Center where I practiced many years ago when I was a young person in my 20s, in very early 30s. And he has a chapter in there at the beginning of the book called Mind Waves. And he says, he makes the point that nothing ever happens outside our awareness. That's our actual experience. Though habit energy makes it appear that things happen outside of us. If we look deeply, as Ty is encouraging us to do, We realize that we always have to be present for anything to happen or for any experience to happen. We're always there first. So our awareness comes first. And he said it may appear through our habit energy and our dualistic kind of hypnotic state or conditioning that things happen outside, but actually our experience, including our thinking, is just waves of our mind, or as he says, ripples on the surface of being. So I wanted to go over those 5 practices we can experiment with, and I think they can be useful in helping us to explore our actual experience of thinking, and that can be kind of fascinating in itself, you know. And also it gives us a sense of, you know, like paying attention to our sensory experience, open our senses up, gives us a sense of if we relax and enjoy, open up to enjoy the freedom and the flowing, the joy of being, feeling our aliveness in our sensory experience, we realize what Tai says is that, you know, when he says, we have all we need to be happy in the present moment. So we can enter that realm of wonderful. Think of wonderful as being full of wonder. Life is full of wonder. And, you know, paying attention to the sensation and aliveness of our being. And I remember when I went with Judith to one of Ty's retreats many years ago, I think it was 2011. We'd do these long walks, and when he'd start one of the walks in the morning, one morning he said, the real miracle is not walking on water, but walking on the earth. The aliveness of walking on the earth. And also, when we open up our sensory world, we're opening up to our connection with others, the joy of allowing kind of the warm currents of our being to be offered and shared with friends, family, and we recognize our shared being. And then on the second practice, don't let thoughts stick. Again, that's the nature of impermanence. If we look at our experience of thinking, thoughts, feelings, sights and sounds are always arising and disappearing in succession. And so, you know, thoughts never stick. It's just our trying to grasp them gives the appearance of them sticking. But actually, thoughts are always changing. You can't really isolate a particular thought. Like, try to imagine when you notice a thought arising, try to reach out and touch the stuff it's made of, or question what is the actual substance of a thought. And when we do that, you'll probably have the experience, or if you pay close enough attention, you'll realize that when you question the existence of a thought, all of a sudden it's gone. Like, what is it really, you know? So that's an actual experience that they're always changing and, you know, arising and disappearing. And it's also a realization that we can't really say what it's really made of other than just us, you know? Like waves or water, ripples on the surface of being, ripples on the surface of our awareness, of our essential Buddha nature. So pay attention to our thinking, and, you know, thinking itself becomes a mental event under observation rather than something that's controlling us. We can just watch it. And they, you know, they arise and disappear on their own. We don't have to try to control or affect the arising or disappearing of thoughts, because they're always just on their own, just like, you know, our heart beats on its own, our digestion goes on its own, our breathing goes on its own, and our thinking goes on its own. It is just a natural function of our mind. And on the fourth one, open the hand of thought. Another student of Suzuki Roshi was Kwong Roshi, who's up in Santa Rosa. He's got to be almost 90 years old now. And he had a phrase, breath sweeps mind, which is kind of like, when she said, opening your hand of thought and just imagine the thoughts just kind of blowing away. It's like the life force energy of our life force is sweeping, as a sweeping motion, as the flow of experience is going on all the time, arising and dissolving back into our being. Just kind of notice that, think of it as kind of a flowing, sweeping motion. And like he says, like Tai says, and Suzuki Roshi said, that all experience arises in us and is made of water, the same stuff that we can't really describe or perceive by itself. But it's a useful metaphor in, all waves are made of water, and no wave, no matter how big or beautiful or whatever, is any wetter than any wave. So no experience is any more or less an expression, a full expression of our Buddha nature, our ultimate being. So thinking is just a natural function of our mind. Thoughts are always moving away from us. That's the impermanence of them. And, when you think about it, and you realize, look deeply, every thought has always been kind of made of the same stuff. We can't hear them. You can't touch them. You can't say where they are or where they arise from except in us. And do they really have by themselves, do they really have the power to affect our being, or are they more like just impersonal energy fragments flashing by, like shadows, that follow us around? So if, more and more in my own experience, I realize I still get bothered by them, but there's more of a realization that it's okay, it's all right. It's just what happens. Nothing happens to our being when thinking starts or stops. Our central being is not affected. Just like the screen on a movie, what the movie plays on the screen, but the screen is not affected by whatever happens in the movie. So our essential being is not affected by whatever happens in our thinking mind. So, exploring our real experience of thinking leads us to an openness to we can let the world speak for itself. I like to people watch when I'm in an airport or in the gym or something. I try to be careful not to stare at people, but I kind of just watch. And, the moods, those facial expressions, their body language, just the energy. You get a sense of the energy there, and it's pretty fascinating. There's so many different varieties of human experience, and just not grasping, not turning away, learning to be present, offering all of our experience does open up the sense of our shared being, and that's what we really want. To realize that is love, that is unconditional acceptance, and that's the Bodhisattva vow, which is the joy, the true joy of being. Okay, so we got time for discussion.
Thank you, Roger.
Yeah.
So when I had my mini breakdown yesterday morning, my art therapist said, think of 3 things that you can do and make that list, write them down and do them. So getting me out of the emotional turmoil, which I was very present for, let me tell you. I was there for my unhappiness. And it wasn't the world's unhappiness at all. It was my unhappiness. But as I interam with the world, I don't think it can be separated at all. But she said to write down 3 things you told me to offer my suffering. And that's a beautiful reminder for me. And let me see who else. Oh, my spiritual teacher, Rick, said, what did he say? He said it's part of the trajectory of enlightenment that sometimes pieces of trauma are still buried very deep and need to be brought out, need to come out. And so I appreciated what everybody had to say, and Daniel held me. I appreciated that the most. But I don't even know if it relates to what we're saying, because it was not a thinking thing. It hit me like incendiary device. I've never had a feeling like that come on in that way. Depression is usually strung out. So I really wanted to share that with Sangha because it's a deep thing that happened. And several years from now, I probably won't even remember it. But it seems significant at the moment. And it seems significant still this week as I sort out what that was. And I'm doing fine, by the way. I did the 3 things. Yeah. Which were take a walk, cook, and sit on the bench for a while by the pond. I did those things. Yeah. That's all that I just wanted to share it for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing it, Judith. You know, like I shared with you in the text, I think of depression or as kind of an energy pressed down. And yes. When the depression, the pressing down is very, very intense, it can be experienced as trauma, kind of a shock to the system because we're not used to being under that much pressure, you know. So it's really relevant to what we're talking about because when we're in a traumatic situation, and of course, you know, we're all had some of those traumatic situations going on different times in our life. It's very difficult to really process the experience. And so we spend so much time trying to get away from it, trying to avoid it, that our thoughts just go wild that way. And the thing is, especially with very intense trauma, we can't really process it by ourselves. You know, we can only, that's why Sangha is so helpful, because we can share it with others and learn to, you know, gradually allow the depression to lift through relaxation, meditation, and sharing our experience with others. So it's very relevant.
Thank you, Roger. Yeah. Thank you. Do we have time?
Yeah, it was interesting the sharing about depression because I run to a crazy wave too of trauma and I see also a spiritual guide and a therapist and like more or less like Judy, she asked me to concentrate on the things that I'm grateful for and also I was going through some crazy archetypes and was like I don't know, something there, but it was nothing about like Judy just stated and about outside. It's about me. It was my stuff coming out and working out and I'm still working out in weird, vivid dreams, and sometimes I don't know if I'm dreaming or if I'm seeing right there. but share and have somebody that kind of guide us, I think is very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. I was
thank
glad
you.
I had guides available. I knew exactly who to go to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and I went to my AA sponsor. That was the other thing. And she said, remember the word acceptance.
Mhm.
I got so much good feedback.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing about trauma. We can't really accept it until we may have to just accept the surface stuff that's available, but we can't the depth. It takes time to work through.
Look, that doesn't happen to me. What just happened does not happen to me. I've been on an even keel for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was kind of shocked. It was traumatic because it came on like gangbusters.
Mm.
So, and I cried for a couple hours, couldn't stop, could not stop.
Mm.
And I wasn't thinking of the suffering of the world either. Because I think I have that in the right perspective.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of suffering going on, but I do not need to suffer because of millions of people are suffering. I do not need to suffer myself for that reason.
Well, it like you say, you weren't thinking about the suffering of the world, but it sounds like you were feeling it.
Maybe that was it, just this buildup. But I like what Rick said about that being on the trajectory of waking up.
Yeah.
Where I feel I am right now, on that somewhere, maybe kind of low on the totem pole.
Whatever triggered it, it needed to be expressed. And,
right.
And it took 2 hours. Well, I don't think I've ever had anything for 2 hours.
No.
That's a long time.
Yeah. It's a long time. Yeah. And it was more than that because Daniel told me I started getting grumpy a day ahead.
It was coming on. Time for Daniel to...
It's a big help to hear from all my people.
Yeah.
And just one more little brief thing, I went to a doctor's office like I think it was last Friday, and it looks like everybody there was going crazy, screaming, and I was doing just like you mentioned, Roger, in the airport, just looking at, because I didn't grab a magazine. I was like, what's going on here? It's like, and the assistant tried to call them out. Hey, come on, let's talk in here. No, the people doesn't have to hear the whole conversation, and people like, I want to throw chair. I'm waiting for so long. It was like, wow. And then I was okay. And then later you get the email from the doctor. How was your experience in the office today?
Yeah, right. Well, you really want to know?
Like, no, perhaps silence. I'm thankful that I saw the doctor.
Yeah, the system is so broken.
It's just weird.
The energy in those offices, not good. Mm-hmm. I just found a nurse practitioner who's holistic. I'm gonna go to her. Mm-hmm. So if I can avoid going to somebody who's following the medical model right now, I will avoid it. Yeah.
No, the doctor, she's amazing. She has a Chinese background, a little holistic too, and she goes through everything, but she takes time, and sometimes people want right now, so if you have to wait, you're not happy. Yeah. So it's a lot of those instant gratification. So my appointment was that, so there was a little bit of a delay, and then it was just like a crazy thing. It's just, and it was not the first time, because it's my third time with her, because I like her, but I just feel with so much people is getting it's too much stuff going on.
Yes.
out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm grateful then we can practice just be still and watching.
Yes. Be still and watch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Sandra.
Cute.
Anybody else? Still got a few minutes.
I really like that example of letting go of your thoughts like the dandelion seeds in your hand. I did that while whoever was reading that. It really, that works. You know, you can just, what are all these thoughts about anyway? Nothing really. They have any consequence? No. Are they valuable? Probably not.
And what is their substance? Yeah.
Just a distraction from here and now, from being present.
Mm-hmm. In fact, really, they're not even a distraction unless we give them permission to distract us. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
That was my favorite too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's actually, no, we have a little time. Norma, did you want to share? No. Okie-doke. We can close. Is that okay with you, everybody?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Have a good night's sleep, everybody. Norma will take us out.
Glad
You have your bell, dear?
Yes, and I'm glad you're feeling better, Judith.
I am, thank you. Thanks to a lot to help.
May the merit of this practice benefit all beings and bring peace.